Story number 2. It's amazing how far some people go to have a better life. Now, what makes this story, what got it into the top 8, is we have to look at the quality of living and the quality of life for some people. Now, there's a difference between that. There's a quality of living and a quality of life. Some people are very optimistic about their settings. Some people are very pessimistic about their settings. Some people are content. Some people want more. But the question is what these people do to get more is what makes this story interesting. Now, if you're tuned in this week and you caught story number 1, you'll get an idea of how some people who are forced off their land and have to try to migrate into other countries, how they find out that what they have to do to get a better life. Some people die to try to live a better life. And what's making this story interesting is there's a story that surfaced in about how California may be the first state to require public colleges to provide abortions. The most amazing thing about the United States is that people have the opportunity to decide on how they want to live their lives. That means they have the opportunity to abort their children. And the reason why story number 2 is here is because the reason why most people abort their children is because they either want to better their lives or better their circumstances, or in some instances you may have rape, you may have something that happens to where the child may be disabled and the mother chooses not to have this child. So what's happening is that you're seeing this story from all angles on what people will do to better their situations. Some people say this is selfish. Some people say this is criminal. But this story is getting interesting because people are starting to understand it from different point of views, and they're starting to get an understanding. And it is a hot topic in healthcare and what the government should provide and what the government should provide when it comes to women having control of their bodies and also having control of bringing life into the world. Ellen and science confirm rich people only care about themselves. Now, this is a story that I guess they did some studies about wealthy people, and I guess the outcome was that wealthy people only care about themselves. Now, I don't know how this story will change anything, but this is a statistic that are saying that the rich get richer and the poor get poorer. Now, there's a story that also surfaced in this week about taxes and how Trump's tax cuts were more beneficial to the wealthy rather than the middle class. There was a story that surfaced in this week that basically says how the middle class is now, according to since 2017 when Trump got elected, is now paying more taxes than the wealthy. So when you understand the economics of the situation, you have to ask yourself, is it more beneficial for the people who already have enough money to have more money to better the economy, or is it more beneficial for the working class to have money and the wealthy to be able to be taxed more? So that's why this story is in the top 8, because it centers in on that inequality of wealth. If athlete endorsements come to college sports, this story also surfaced in. Expect seismic change in recruiting. Now, this is talking about the quality of life of athletes, especially young athletes. This story is homing in on the youth thing. Even in theater and entertainment, some actors are not paid. In churches, people are not paid to do labor. People want labor for free. So when you look at labor laws and how people are occupying their time, now you have to look at this from opportunity cost. You see what just happened to General Motors or with their unions. These are people who understand labor practices, fair labor laws. When people are not getting paid for their time, they could be doing something else with their time. And that's why they always call it opportunity cost. And that's why story number 2 has the ability to become a bigger story, because people are starting to understand that if they want a higher living standard, then they have to sacrifice something, which is time. And you see it meshing in with a lot of news stories that made it this week. Judge asks parents involved in college scam, what makes their children more privileged or so privileged rather than other children. They did a study in California. They analyzed how residents spent money that were given every month. They gave them $500 a piece, and they found out that the people who thought that they would spend it on things that they didn't need, they were actually wrong. They actually spent it on bills, catching up. There's I believe it's Yang, a candidate right now who wants to get an opportunity to be president. He's talking about this universal income, which is endorsed by Mark Zuckerberg, where they're talking about taking taxpayer funds and giving people a basic, like an allowance of almost like $19,000 a year, I believe it is, or somewhere in that ballpark. So if this happens, what you have to understand is, America has really never, I don't think it's ever been the government that, I think people even have to apply for food stamps or apply for government assistance. They have to apply for certain benefits. I don't think this government has ever really been the entitlement government, but you see some candidates trying to change that, and what it will do to the future, or if it happens. I mean, this talk is beyond what you would say with past generations would have thought, especially generations that built the foundation. And giving people $500 just for being a citizen. I mean, that's unbelievable. When you have the fact that people need jobs, and where is the money going to come from? This is the type of talk that swings the pendulum back to the right, because people with common sense and people who have earned their keep are saying there is no way that the government or taxpayer money should be going to citizens. And that's what's making this story unique, is it's actually becoming debatable. They're actually experimenting with this, and they're actually trying to see if this could be a legitimate policy in America. So that's why when you see them studying it, that's when people are actually considering it. College professor spends nearly $190,000 in federal grants on strip clubs, sports bars. So now you're starting to see ethics coming into the agenda. The people who have are abusing what they have, and the people who don't have a lot are looking at to say, do you know what I could have done with that $190,000 from the federal government? And this money was supposed to go towards certain things for the college, and you see this happening where people are just breaking the law. It even happened at institutions like ITT Tech. I know you remember that story, where they found out that some of their board members were misusing college money. Tyler Perry says he was ignored, or he is ignored in Hollywood. He opens his own studio in Atlanta. Now, this could change the course of things, because he may be giving a lot of African Americans opportunities to advance into this entertainment world. So this is what people do to better their lives. So people just go to extremes where they take their own money, invest if they don't feel welcome somewhere else. But that's the opportunity, and that's the benefit of being an American citizen, is that you can make those vital decisions if you have the means to do them in this country. And that's why story number 2 has some key talking points, because if this man was, if people don't feel like they're treated fairly in Hollywood, then why not take your money elsewhere? It could even be in Hollywood. I think this whole debate started from the fact that some people didn't like the fact that the government was mandating that people should not be, or shutting down abortion clinics. This was a talking point in this story, and that's why it crept into the top 8, because people are finding ways to find better pathways for the people who they're supporting in their own group. And this could open up a doorway to a lot of new entertainers, and a lot of new ideas, and a lot of new ways to finance certain projects in Atlanta. Atlanta has been entertainment friendly for a long time. So this may change the course. It may balance things out, just like they say, hey, we need another Facebook to compete with Facebook. Just like a lot of people are looking for something to compete with Hollywood. So this may balance things out. And this is why we see things like this happening. I mean, the guy will probably create a lot of enemies, a lot of envy, a lot of strife, but he went out on a limb and used his own money and got some supporters and got together and built a studio. Man connected to Colombo crime family. tried to fix NCAA games last season, according to feds. So this is what happens. People cheat to gain, and that's why story number 2 has the talking points, has the ability to get you to understand what people do and how far they go to better their lives, to better the lives of people around them. If people are not as, if you feel like there's a lot of ignorance or lack of education in your community, or people are not informed, what would you do to come to the rescue? Would you get a podcast? Would you take money out of the local radio station? Would you try to enlighten these people? And this is why some people, but the good thing is that in America, people have these benefits, they have these opportunities, and they have these privileges to be able to do this, and they're in a country that promotes freedom. And that's why story number 2 has all of the substance and all of the ingredients to be a good story. You're in the Mediator with me, Brian Westward. It's my duty every week to give you the top 8 headlines developing news stories. I try to look pretty. I try to clean myself up, well shaven, chopping my hair off to look good for the camera, even though you can't see my bald head. But I'm doing this for the love of the game, so if you want to be a contributor, help out anyway, show me some love. METHOD, the number at INC.com, method80.com, where you can buy something, click on something, watch something, read something, or just sponsor a program. And I also want to remind you that I'm just a mediator, staying in the middle, dancing, juking between the right and the left to keep you informed. All the news, journalists, people on the front line, even though they're often told that they're liars, are the ones who deserve all the credit. They do go through extensive nights typing and trying to find the right stories, so they should get some credit. Some of them even lose their lives, journalists all over the world. So I just have to emphasize that journalists, the people who are putting in the coding on YouTube, coding on websites, these are the people who deserve the credit. I just mediate, navigating these stories, trying to figure out what stories are most important. So if you want to be a contributor, help out anyway, METHOD, the number at INC.com, method80.com, where you can buy something, click on something, watch something, read something, or just sponsor a program. You can also check out the stories that almost made it in and the stories that did make it in for your own cause. You may have your own radio program, news program, social media platform, or blog. So this may be the spot for you. METHOD, the number at INC.com. If you want to contribute, all you have to do is buy something, click on something, watch something, read something, or just sponsor a program. That's METHOD, the number at INC.com, method80.com. You can buy something, click on something, watch something, read something, or just sponsor a program.
If you need help, then dial your operator.
Have no fear, fellow citizens. The Mediator is here.